So yes, YouTube can switch to next translation if one is ended. So you might see something, some another translation. So that's not mine. That's YouTube hints. Well, okay. Uh, so let's continue with arrays. This topic is really long and has a lot of subtopics to explore, and this is quite important because most probably you will hardly use arrays inside at your final final practical assignment. Now let's create a new class, uh, array operations 2 with main function inside, and let's just copy the first array from previous class. So we will work still with this. So this is this done already? Okay. First example. Let's work on on changing array elements. So we already done this before. So we know how to change uh, values of array to assign a new value to elements array. So actually we are taking array, next we getting access to array element and assigning a new, assigning a new value. Let's repeat this, but work with whole array. So let's increase. So okay, let's double the values of this array. So earlier we had this 4, 4, or 4, 8, minus 3, 5, 2, 12. Let's get something like 16 minus 6, 10, 4, 24. So how we will do it? Uh, so actually we need to take every array element. We already know how to do it, and multiply it by 2 and assign its value back to inside array. So let's write it. So start we already know how to do. So that's standard for loop declaration. So let's take element from array. And now let's multiply it by 2. So we'll already know how to do it. And now let's assign value back to array. So I am getting access to array element, and it now saying that now this will contain this will contain new value. So previous multiplied by 2. Now let's now after that simply print this array after we have changed the values. So how to print array? So actually we have already done this before. I take the from array operations our first example when we have printed array. So this is standard way how to print array of integers. Now let's run. So yes, now I have array with these values multiplied by 2. Great. So please rewrite this example, and after that we will look in details what's happening here on each step. Okay, let's wait 30 seconds more. Well, okay, I have started debug. So this is standard declaration. We already know how to do it. Okay, so here we took first element from array and assigned into variable called element. So this, so let me show you array and this element variable. So you see here is array. So and its internals. So each index and value. So this variable element, it is not so it's just a copy of array uh, just copy of array's element value. So this after we multiplied by 2, it contains new value, but you see here inside array we still have an old value. So here we are creating new integer variable that has initial value of taken from array. So array still contains old values until we are implicitly or explicitly say that now it will contain a new value exactly on this index. So we have e still 0. So now we're assigning new value to array at index 0. So on the next step, we see that here now at index 0 we have a new calculated value. Let's go on next steps. So now we are taking second element that is equal to 8, multiplying it by 2 and assigning back in array. So before assignment we have their old value. After assignment we have new value. So index is not changed. We have changed only value. Let's take next. So next element is minus 3. Here we are multiplying it by 2. Now we have minus 6. But here in array we still have old value. And only after assignment by this we have updated value. And so the same procedure for next elements. And now we got new, so that's still the same array, but we have updated all values inside. We have multiplied them by 2. Well, look, so that's how we are changing array elements. So basically we have, we can calculate new values and assign it to array in multiple ways. So we can do it exactly how do we want. So we can calculate it from a previous value. We can take this value from another array. We can just create new random value. We can assign 0. So that's up to our fantasy what we are going to assign inside array. Now let's create one more array. We cannot have same value names. Let's create R2 and let's create and let's assign some more some another values. So here I have created a new array. So please do the same, because later we will trying to we will try to make them friends. Okay, first exercise we will create a new array. So we already know lengths of this and this array, so they are equal. And let's create new empty array. So I will not give any initial values like here. So I need to say the length of this length of array. So here I can calculate by hands how much here I have used, or I can use this calculated value. So I can take this array length from first array. So now I have initialized a new array called R3 with exactly same length like first array. So what I want, so here will be only zeros. Let's print the internals of array3. So I just copy paste this printing function and change previously used R with R3. Yes, here I need some extra new line. Well, so now I have empty array with all zeros. So if you do not assign initial values, they will be assigned automatically by zeros. So from this, please rewrite these lines of code with extra line break, creating new array and its printing. But why these numbers are hard to see? Image is blurry or font is not big enough? But it's not blurry all the time, or so I have a little bit increased font size. I hope it will be better. Uh, okay. So the highest resolution you have, so it will eat, so more bytes will be needed to transfer. So if you have a bad internet connection, or I have bad internet connection, so that's maybe the reason why it's blurry. So internet connection cannot hold so much bytes of information in correct time. So maybe try to lower resolution. Okay, so let's back to our arrays. Array 3. So now I want to put inside these values from array 1 and sum them with array 2. So I want to take 4 and sum this with 9. Then I want to take this 8 second element and sum this with -5 from second array. Well, let's try to do it. So here's the question: which array lengths to use? So they all three have similar lengths, otherwise our example wouldn't work. So actually that's not really important which array to length to use here. So let's use third. And so here we can so here we need to assign uh, value to into array 3 by each index. So on the first loop iteration, e is equal to 0. So we can already assign new value to this array. So let's calculate it, how we can do it. So let's take first element with the same index from array 1. So this operation will mean that we take first, so not really first, but e element from array this one and assigning its value to this array. But I want to create a sum from first array element and second. So this. So here I took e element from array first and summing with this element at same position from second array. Now let's print it one more time. So I just copy pasted this the same function, printing a new line and printing all the array. So yes, so now I have new values calculated, but not actually. Yes, not actually this, but uh, after when we have multiplied them by 2. So please rewrite this part where we're creating sum and where we are printing the same again. So I'll put here just extra comments because this code parts looks very similar. Are you ready with this? Great. So is it clear now how can we change array values? So we can uh, so we can this is how can we access each array element. And here with equality sign we can assign a new value. This new value can be calculated from the same element. It can be calculated, can be taken from another array. It can be calculated from multiple arrays. So uh, it can be done anyway. Uh, uh, it can be done in any possible and legal way. So here's just example how we calculated value from to another arrays. Well, good. So now what I want. So here we have got this R3 printed. So how we do print it? We print it from start to finish, from first element to last. And after you mentioned this plus plus these difficulties with plus plus operator, uh, so I want you to perform one more extra practical assignment. So please print uh, some of these arrays that we got here in reverse direction. So from start last elements, then so if we got here printed it before in that way, so now I want to be printed in reverse direction, something like this. Uh, so there are two ways how to perform it. So the easiest one is to use operators that is inverse to plus plus. But then you will have to think about this initial value and this condition. So there are two ways, and easiest is to use reverse operator. Second one is some mathematical uh, perversions. So I'll give you 10 minutes for this. Is assignment clear? What we need to do? Well, okay, then let's start. So I will not break translation. I will just turn off sound. You can still write me in a private. Okay, so now let's talk about bounds and all other aspects. So inverse operator of e++ would be e minus minus. So by this we are decreasing value of e by 1. But now we should change this array declaration. So we should start not from 0, but from array finish. So not from start, but from finish. And change this Boolean condition to vice versa. So we are not iterating from start till end. So here we will start from end and iterate till 0. So let's write this. So int e is equal to 0, or not 0, but array length. Then condition would be inverse. So e is more or equal to 0. So that's important moment equal to 0 because so the last will be 0. 0 is the quite so this will be first element and we should include it. And here we change this e++ to e minus minus. But look, if we have array length 6, it means that last element of array have index 5. So because length is ordinal number, so it is 1 to starts from 1. But this index starts from 0. That's the problem, and we somehow need to fix it. So let's take e with array length minus 1. So this would be the last element inside our array. So in our case, length will be 6, but last element inside array will have index 5. So here we change this first this initialization with minus 1 and get this 5 here. So here now we will have this absolutely the same printing logic. So earlier we had this, now we have this. So please rewrite this example if it wasn't done before, and then please give me a sign, and I'll show you second way how achieve the same result. Okay, second way, that's quite perverse way. So we it's still the same. We will have declaration as normal way, but here we will manipulate with this index. So as I mentioned before, we can manipulate with this index. So further, if we have index on the start, but we need to take the last element. So we know where it start from 0, we know where the finish at array length. So what can we do here? We can calculate this index not by simply using e, but performing calculation of this array length and e. So here I can use array length minus 1 and minus e. So what does it mean? So let me use separate variable for this. Let's call it reverse index. So this length will be 6, minus 1, this will be 5, and minus e, so on a first iteration it will be 0. So now in this reverse index I will have value of last index of array. I will print this last element. Next, this e will be increased, and here I will get result of previous than last element. So it's easier. So please rewrite this example, and later we will show it. We will look on it step by step with debugger. So have you tried this second way? Okay, let's look on a debug on this special variable. So e will work as a normal way from start till the array length. So on first it will has value of 0, but here we calculate reverse index. So it will has the value of last element. So how we calculate it? So R3 length minus 1, it will be the last element in array. So we cannot use length, just length here, because it's a little bit more than last element index. So minus 1, that's last element index. And here we're performing minus e. So when e grows from 1 to from 0 to 1 to 3 and so on, this reverse index will be decreased. So here we are performing minus e. On the first iteration, e is equal to 0, so it doesn't affect this calculation. So here on the first iteration we will have in reverse index calculated last element index. So we are printing this. And now e is equal to 1, reverse index is equal to 4. Next, e is equal to 2, and reverse index is equal to 3. And so on and so on. So they are don't know the correct term, and they are dependent, they are reversely dependent from each other. the more grows E, the less became this reverse index. And what happens on the screen? We are actually getting elements by this reverse index. So on the start it was last element from array, then it became 4, so we got previous, then last, and so on and so on. So that's how we are getting values till 0. So E is the last, so E will grow till array length, so till 5. And here what we have here, array length -1 and minus E, so it will result in 0. So now we will have here in reverse index index of the first element of array. So that's how we have printed this in a reverse order. So for now, these two examples, are they clear? So now I don't want to give you uh, uh, so earlier I want to take a difficult example, but I don't want to give it now because we don't have enough time for this. So let's do a small practical assignment. Uh, so we'll play with the indexes. So now I will redeclare this arrays. So just to keep them here close twice. So what I want from you now. So earlier uh, we have calculated this third array, taking the values from here from start and calculating them one by one. So in that way. Now I want you to calculate this third array with values from different ends of array. So this first value from first array should be summed up with value from second array end. So this 4 with 4, 8 with 31, minus 3 with 0, 5 with minus 7, 2 with minus 5, and 12 with minus with 9. So minus 3 with plus 0 and so on. So now this is this assignment clear what we have to do? So this will be a last exercise for today, and if you do not perform this now on election time, this will become your homework. And so then I'll finish translation, and but you can still write me, and I will answer if you have some questions. So if you do not do this in 15 minutes, that are reserved for end of Lection, this will become your homework till Monday. Okay, so uh, now I wish you a great holiday. Just because I'm already ending this lection in voice, so I will still answer you next 15 or more minutes. But so now I'll finish the stream, and so this become your practical assignment or homework if you do not perform this till end of election.